Good day and welcome to our review of the Samsung S23 Ultra. We're going to unbox this and we're going to go over the core features, but not with just reading the usual specs. We're going to go over and explain a number of things about the phone that you might not know. And then we're going to go over some tips and tricks that you might find quite interesting. I know we did when we started playing with these a short while ago. SIM card remover. USB-C, quick start guide that does little more than tell you how to take the SIM card out, put the SIM card in. So what's missing from this? Well, charger. But that's with all phones now. Nothing ships with a charger, so you're gonna have to get your own. Most people will have a wireless charger, and you already should. If you don't, you really should get one because worrying out the USB ports, not a lot of fun. All right, let's go over a couple of things. Firstly, what's the number one thing with this phone? Well, obviously it's the SPen. That's why people buy this. There's a mid-size phone called the Plus, but it's only 0.2 inches smaller, so it's roughly the same size. So you might as well get the one with the SPen because there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do with this, which you can see in a little minute when we demonstrate it. Before we get into the positives on this, let's go over the three big drawbacks. It's freaking big, but it's not gigantic. It's 6.8 inches. That is a Samsung S21 Fan Edition. Let's take the cover off of it. And you can see, yeah, it's a teeny tiny bit larger. Even when you put a cover on it, which I bought these on Amazon for about $10. So these are cheap. These are just TPU, thermoplastic. I want something that I get a good grip because these phones are slippery. So pop that in before you do anything. And you can see, yeah, that's not ridiculous. That fits nicely in my hand. It's not insane. The number two thing that's wrong with it is it's heavy. It's 234 grams. My S22, which is what we're recording on right now, is about 160. So this thing's relatively heavy, but it's not crazy. And the third thing wrong with it is what they preloaded it with. There's some bloatware on here. There are two things I don't physically like about the phone. The first is I don't like that it doesn't have rounded corners. Why? You're more likely to smash the glass when the corners are not rounded. I don't know if I'd call it a flaw, but it's certainly a choice I don't like. The other choice I don't like is the placement of the microphone and the SIM card tray right there. It's very easy to put the SIM card remover in the wrong hole and blow up your mic. So you gotta be careful when you do that. Other than that, everything's great. Okay, let's fire this up and we'll go over some of the interesting things right away. The number one thing we're going to go over that you're probably thinking we're gonna spend a lot of time on, and we're not, is the cameras. Look, these are arguably the best cameras on the market. There is a 200 megapixel camera on here. Plus, there's also a 10 times optical zoom. If you don't know what optical zoom is, it's a big deal. Optical zoom means the camera is actually moving. The lens is actually physically moving. So typically with phones, what you need to do is take your picture and then crop it to whatever you want. The problem with that is you lose resolution. With this, because it has a 10 times zoom, what you should do is zoom it in to where you want it and then take your picture. And then you won't lose any resolution because it's an optical zoom, not a digital zoom. They've also got something that they've coined, just another buzzword called nightography. And that's because it takes such great night pictures. They use the AI buzzword all over this phone, but this is one of the places where the AI really does work. It does the auto corrections for your night photography, and it does a great job. So that's all we're going to say about the camera. Another thing that it has is a gigantic 5,000 milliamp battery, so 26 hours of video playing. So basically you'll get about 2 days out of this with normal usage. And then as far as the screen goes, it runs at 1750 nits, which boils down to it's great for outdoors. It also has an incredibly high resolution, which we're going to show you in just a moment. And one of the coolest things about this phone is the recycled materials in it. So this is, a relatively green phone. There's a couple of things we're going to show you before we get to the really cool stuff, just things that you might think were done automatically that weren't. First thing, update the operating system and you think, well, surely that was already done. Nope, it wasn't. So click on the cog, go all the way down to software update, download an update. I've already done this, do the install. That's the first thing. Second thing, update all of your apps and you think, surely that was done. Nope, probably not. So go to the Play Store, click on your icon, manage apps, and make sure that the updates are all applied. Next thing, the Galaxy Store. And you think, what's Galaxy Store? Well, it's just for the Galaxy apps. And you think, isn't that in the regular store? Nope. So Go to the Galaxy Store and update those. And there are lots of things in here that need to get updated. Go to the menu in the bottom left, go to Updates. Look at that, that's a lot of updates. Update them. Then reboot. Let's get on to what you actually care about, using it and the cool features that this thing has. First thing, pull the SPen out. And you'll see what's called the Air Command bar pops up. Let's go to Create a Note. And in here, look, there's the usual stuff you'd expect. You can write, I like cheese. Okay, what you wouldn't expect is maybe this. Go over down to Shapes, and I can draw a triangle, and it will correct it. I can draw a circle, and it will correct it. I can draw a rhombus. I can also do things on angles. So you think just circles? No, look. Pretty cool. Also, text fields. Any text field I can write in, and it will convert it. So I can write this as cheese. And it will convert it to text for me. Perfect. Click Done. So that's what you'd expect from the SPen, right? You can write with it. But do you know that you can do a lot more with it? I mean, a lot more. So now if I click and hold, the camera comes up. And you think, wow, that's pretty black. Yeah, that's because we're looking at what's underneath. If I double click it now, it'll change from front to back to the selfie cam. Hi. Just click it again, it'll change back. And if I single click, it takes a picture. So it's a full remote control. If I go into the gallery, it's also a wand. If I press the button and I swipe, it just goes through it. And you can't see how far away I am, but I'm quite a distance here. I'm now 3 feet. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? It's also play and pause in YouTube. There, that's pause, play. It's also used for gestures. In YouTube, it skips through to the next video if I press and hold it and flick it. If I'm in Spotify, I can flick up or down for volume. I can also do a selected screen grab, in other words, a region of the screen. So let's click on news, but it really could be anything. Tap on the pen, go to Smart Select, and just grab a chunk of the screen. And I'm going to grab something in the middle just to prove that it's silly, that I can grab any part I want. Then I can go to Share, and I will share this with my Dutch buddy, and there it is. Now I could put it into a graphics package, I could email it, I can do whatever I want. That's kind of handy. Now this isn't an SPen feature, but it's still pretty cool. I can do it with my finger, but the SPen's easier. If I want to cut out any object, I can have the AI that's built into this figure out where the edges are and crop out everything else. Check this out. So I'm just going to click on my ugly head and hold it, and I can select copy. Then I could go into my texts as an example, and I can just paste it. Pretty cool, huh? I could go into anywhere, by the way. It doesn't have to be text. I could go into Word or Excel or any graphics package. Another fun thing you can do in here is to click the 3 dots on the right side and select Add Portrait Effect. And what it's going to do is a blur in the background. So if you've got something private, well, you can make it more or less blurry so you can't really see it. Go to Edit. For some reason, they buried this down on the bottom right here, but click the 3 dots and select Object Eraser. And check this out. I can just tap on stuff I don't want. I don't want that. I don't want that guy. He's in the way. I don't want that car. And erase. They're gone. Amazing. And we can also remaster a picture. So let's go into this one. And I'm going to select the 3 dots on the right side and select Remaster Picture. And we'll zoom in and look what it does. You see the difference? And maybe you can't see it in there, but what it's doing is it's cleaning up the image. It's pretty cool. Let's go over some of the other cool settings. Swipe down from the top and you'll see that you've got the usual modes for notifications, sound, vibrate, mute. But check this out. If I click on mute, I can now select a temporary mute. So I want it to be muted for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or a custom time. Another feature that isn't unique to the S23 Ultra, but is available on the S23 Ultra is maintenance mode. So let's go to the cog, scroll all the way down, select battery and device care, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see maintenance mode. And we'll turn it on here, and we'll do this very quickly. But what it's going to do is block access to all of your apps and all of your data. So that's great if you need to send it in for a repair, hand it to corporate IT to do something to it. Pretty cool, switching to maintenance mode. And now this phone, there's no password on it, but you can't do very much. It's in maintenance mode. So look, where'd all the apps go? Yeah, there aren't any, right? It's pretty much stripped. And to get out of maintenance mode, swipe down from the top. Your phone's in maintenance mode and it wants you to prove you're you. And bingo, we're back from maintenance mode. Everything's just the way it was. And the last two things I want to show you are things that are available on most Samsung products, but you might not be aware of it, and they're super useful. The first thing is what's called a hand scanner. So, well, again, we'll just go to news, and I'll scroll up a bit just to make it different. I could just take my hand and swipe, and boom, it just took a screen grab. That is a screen capture, and I can do that on any screen. And the last one is if you press the power button 5 times quickly, it will dial your emergency number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is. I'm just going to click cancel because it's not an SOS. Now, where do we program that SOS number? Right here. Swipe down from the top, click the cog. In the top right, click the magnifying glass for search, and then type in SOS. Emergency SOS. And we can go through all of these settings. Let's go to emergency SOS, emergency number to call, and you can see it defaulted to 112 overseas, but here we want to default it to 911. And while we're here, let's go over a couple of settings you might care about. The first thing is the screen. This is a ridiculously high resolution screen, but it's defaulted to a mid-level just to save battery. Go to display, and down here, you see screen resolution. Yeah, I would really highly recommend you change it to 3088 by 1440. That is a much higher resolution, and will it affect your battery? Not a whole lot. And you've paid for this awesome screen, might as well get it. Here it is. We didn't even have to reboot. Pretty nice. And this screen is crystal clear. Go down to advanced features and select advanced features, then SPen. And here there are a number of things you want to check, but the most notable is down here under more SPen settings. Warn if the SPen is left behind. So if you're in a bar or something and you leave your pen down and you walk away, this will tell you that it has. I also like to leave the SPen always connected. And while we're in settings, we want to go to the lock screen and to secure lock settings. Now, this is a setting that used to be on by default, but it's off by default now. Auto factory reset. So after 20 attempts, look, the guys got your phone, they're going to get into it. So what you need to do is probably turn that on. So after 20 attempts, at least it wipes the phone out and your data is not taken. And the last thing that we want to show you, and this you're really going to like, especially if you have smaller hands. In advanced features, let's just go back into it. And you want to make sure that one-handed mode is turned on. And here's why. Let me just show you what that is. So one-handed mode. This is a big screen, so if you have small hands, it's a problem. I can swipe down from the bottom. It makes the screen smaller. I can have it shift left to right. I can move it down a bit. And now, this is easy to work with one hand. Now to get out of this, just click somewhere else on the screen. So hey, if you like this video, please give us the big thumbs up. We would really appreciate it. And subscribe's always appreciated. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can always get a hold of us directly at www.urtech.ca. That's www.urtech.ca. Or you can leave a question or a comment on YouTube. And if we don't get back to you, somebody else will, because it's YouTube and, well, everybody has an opinion.